22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America. We see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings. AJ, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Trying to get this new setup going since I don't have my Starship right now.
The backup joint, huh?
Yeah, this is the backup. This is the backup setup. And
shout out to Damon Blyden.
Yes. Peace and blessings, my brother. Peace and blessings. Hold on, I'm trying to. There we go. Had the wrong camera. Now that's the angle right there, man.
There you go.
Yeah. That's the angle, so people can see my beautiful living room that nobody sits in, but it is what it is.
Like a museum. You can't go in there. You can look. But
you can't even touch nothing in there. You got
like a museum.
It's like Liberace's living room with all this glass, but it is what it is, man. But here we are, man. It's Sunday, another Sunday, People Before Politics radio show, and
episode 395.
395. We're creeping up. We're creeping up on 500 and
400. Yep, absolutely.
We're gonna do something great. We're gonna figure out something dope. So peace and blessings, everybody, man. Welcome to the People Before Politics radio show. I'm Damon K Jones, and this is AJ Woodson. And man, we're here to keep it 100 with the news, with the black point of view. And there's a lot of things going on. And I see that my brother AJ done loaded up this idiot's video. And yeah, but let's just get into it, man. Let's just get into it, man. Go ahead, AJ. Introduce the video.
So you all heard all the video came out. As a video came out, Diddy beating Cassie's ass from like 8 years ago, 2016, in a hotel in LA, and he put out an apology, or what was supposed to be an apology video. I'm just gonna play the video and then we can talk about it on the other end. Go ahead and play the video.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. I had to ask God for His mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
So first off, Damon, my sister called me and she wanted me to say this, and especially what you want to air. She says, as a female, the first thing, well, you know, is the statute of limitations is over and all that stuff. But even if it wasn't, she was like, I need my father, my brothers, my male cousins to go and put a beat down on P. Diddy. Like he put a beat down on that girl. He's like, if I was her, that's what I would need. She said, I would need the men in my life to put a beat down on him. So she wanted me, that's my sister Nicole, she wanted me to make sure that I said that. Now, my whole thing, an apology is an apology. Anybody could be sorry for whatever. Hell, I ain't got no hell to put him in or no heaven to put him in, so he gonna have to, you know, take care of that with God. But why I feel this apology is not authentic, up to this point, he categorically denied all allegations against him. Categorically, all allegations were false. None of this stuff was true. Then a video that he tried to pay the hotel $50,000 so it wouldn't surface of him beating Cassie. Cassie was trying to get away from him, get on the elevator, just get away from him while he was asleep. He woke up, caught her, threw her down to the ground, beat her, kicked her. Then he puts out this apology after that video surfaces 8 years later. A video that CNN or someone leaked. No, he never expected this video to come out.
Right.
And
right.
and if he had apologized then, first off, who are you apologizing for? You beat this woman down. You ain't mentioned her name. You ain't apologized to her. You don't owe me an apology. You owe her an apology. And as a father who got daughters, you have daughters too. You understand what I'm saying? How are they going to look at you like on how a man is supposed to treat a woman? Like real talk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like as a black man, I needed to speak on this. It's not about, you know, kicking a man while he's down. No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? But, yo, this is unacceptable behavior. And as black men in our community, I don't care if he's a celebrity or he the dude that live on your corner of your block next door. Yo, black men need to step up. When we see something like this in our community, we need to step up and speak up. Now, I'm going to let you say whatever, and I'm going to keep it moving because there's a lot more I could say. But
so, I mean, look. Man, I promised my pastor, man, I was changing my language. But if you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. Money is not going to change anything. You was a piece of shit in the beginning. And like you said, AJ, ain't no need to apologize, because if you was really serious about apologizing to that sister, you wouldn't have paid the hotel $50,000 to keep the recording. You didn't know that recording was going to get out. So that shows me and shows the world your character and who you are. To beat a woman? Nah, bro, you walk away. You know, and then that just confirms everything else that she was saying about you in that lawsuit.
Her complaint, if you go back to her complaint, she described that ass whooping.
No, she
described that in great detail. The video backs up everything she said.
She did. And the fact that I truly believe that the feds put it out, because the statute of limitations was over, because they probably got it out of his house when they raided the house, both houses. And he probably kept it in a safe, and they broke that safe wide open because they the feds and they could do stuff like that. And they put it out. The statute of limitations, they couldn't bring him up on charges, but it's easier. It's you know, so some of those COINTELPRO types. We're gonna get you, but before we get you, we're gonna show the world who you are. So they're not gonna. It ain't gonna be no talking no more. Is why they did Diddy's house like that. They didn't do this one like that. They didn't do that one like that. Now the world gonna know he's a piece of shit and he needs to be treated the way he needs to be treated. And let me tell you, if any black man defends that, you're a piece of shit too. I got a daughter. I got 2 granddaughters. And I know if I saw a tape like that of a man doing that to my daughter, he better have a whole bunch of security. And they all better have bulletproof vests on. Because I would definitely take the mugshot with a smile. That's crazy. That's unacceptable. And there's no way you're gonna be apologizing now. You're tricked. You listen, Puffy, you're exposed. You're exposed. You're exposed now. It's nothing you could do to get around that now. There's no reason. There's no even reason for you to apologize about that stuff. About it. Why apologize? You should have apologized when she launched the lawsuit, but you just wanted to silence her up, give her a whole bunch of money, and make her sign all these NDAs like guilty people usually do, make people sign NDAs. But now you're exposed. And the whole world knows you're a piece of shit. And the sad thing about it is there are people that knew it and didn't say anything. There are people who knew it, but it's easier to start talking now when the giant's on his back. Right? It takes a person with real integrity and character to expose it while the giant's on his feet. So y'all just as guilty as Puffy is, those who were around that and was watching all that. It's sad, bro. You know, I pray for the brother, and we all can be redeemed.
Right.
But at the end of the day, how you handled it all these years, it's over, man. And it's sad because, bro, you was one of the 4 legs of the hip hop culture. You did so much to the hip hop culture. And you had a sickness, and then the people that are around you wasn't honest enough to you to tell you to go get some type of counseling and therapy. Because they were just enjoying the luxuries of life, and you used that against them so they wouldn't say anything. And then they continue to feed your sickness. So I blame the people around you. I blame the people that they cared that they didn't care for you, bro. And I'm talking to Puffy, and I'm talking to people that was around them. They didn't care for you. They were just trying to get paid. And now it's convenient. It's convenient for them to talk about you now and get some little money on TMZ and all these little webcasts and podcasts and YouTube videos. Now you who the fool? See, so I have no respect for none of them. What are you talking now for? Man, I'm getting hot. I'm sweating, man.
Yeah. And we stayed away from all of this with all the allegations. We stayed away from the house being raided. We didn't even bother all of that. But dude, the video surfaced, and it's like, y'all. And then I sat and read the comments, and it's like, yo, there's people that were supporting you and love you, and was like, yo, they had your back up until that video surfaced. They're like, yo, a lot of people was like, yo, what the, yo. And then your apology, I really, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, the apology is a little too little too late as far as I'm concerned. And again, he ain't mentioned Cassie. That's who he need to be apologizing to. He ain't even acknowledge her. You know what I'm saying? And are you sorry, or are you sorry that the video came out? Like, you can really be sorry, but right now you're not even gonna get the benefit of the doubt because you're apologizing after the video came out. But before that point, through your lawyer, you were categorically denying everything. All allegations against you were just people trying to get money from you. That was the narrative that you was painting. And lastly, tell your son, stop making them little whack-ass tracks talking about it. He need to be quiet too, because that ain't helping you at all. I'm just telling you, that ain't helping you at all. But that's enough of that, though. I just wanted to speak on that because I saw my phone blew up, when the tape came out, and then, especially when the video surfaced today, the apology. I mean, I got calls from everybody. Everybody was talking about it. So I even got a call from my sister. And, she was asking me, was we going to talk about it? And as a sister, she's saying, the apology ain't no good. The apology ain't worth nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. Enough of Diddy. Real talk though. I do pray for the brother. I think we kick our people down when they're down. I mean, whatever justice, he's gonna have to pay the piper at some point. You know what I'm saying? But there is definitely some kind of sickness, and I pray for him as far as that's concerned. Other than that, that's it. That's enough of that. That's enough. That's all the publicity all the publicity people before politics. Just everybody was talking about it and talking about it to me. So, you know what I mean? I just figured out, and I looked at that apology as some bullshit. So, enough of that. There's DJs. You know how many DJs online? I don't know if every DJ is, Damon, but a lot of DJs I know, they've taken him out of the playlist. They're like, we're not playing any of that. I don't know if that's just for now or that's forever, but a lot of DJs talking about not playing his music.
Well, hey man, people still play R. Kelly's music.
Well, yeah, be like, I don't know if he did it, but damn, he make a hell of a song though.
Yeah,
he makes some good songs. That's what's something about him.
I still play R. Kelly's music.
But I'm just saying, when he was going through it with the allegations, people like, I don't know if he did it, but damn, that new song is hot. You heard that new song? Wait. Since we talking about R. Kelly, he the first person that came out and said, "Oh man, I don't believe none of that about Diddy. I know how the justice system want to railroad a black man." Until
that video came out, he said, "Oh, never mind, forget about it."
Yeah. I heard a peep from him now.
I gotta pull up the Boondocks when they was having
the
R.
episode.
Kelly.
They said,
that's not R. Kelly. How can you see it? And the dude looked in the camera.
Yeah. But there's an episode that's been going around that they said was that they was trying to warn you about Puff like 10 years ago or however long ago it was.
Yeah,
it's a big episode.
It was called
Thugnificent. Thugalicious or something.
Homie Over Hoes. He made the song called
Yeah.
And then the pimp was like, I don't put nothing over a hole. Not a ham, maybe a ham sandwich, but I never put homies. I never Cat Williams, the pimp. I never over a hole.
And speaking about Cat Williams, he started this year off saying 2024 was the year that a lot of people was going to get exposed, and a lot of people, the truth was coming out, and a lot of stuff that has been hidden and shoved under the carpet is about to be exposed this year. So,
yeah, listen, man, my pastor said it too. My pastor said it too. He claimed it. He said this is a year of exposure. You don't get exposed on who you are, George Lattimore. You're going to get exposed on who you are. 2024 is a year of exposure. And you know what? That's a great segment.
I was just going to say, good segue into our next topic. Before you go, I want to say this clearly. So, two things. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
So Damon wrote an article recently. I wrote an article about the debate. Damon wrote an article. I'll put the link in there so y'all can read it. George Lattimore actually called me out on Facebook talking about, there goes AJ again. 6 months of just, assassinate my character or whatever he said. I'm like, yo, real talk. This is the second time Damon's words, and you know they were Damon's words, and you won't say nothing to Damon, and you have Damon's cell phone number.
And my phone still haven't rung.
And I'm like, yo, why are you coming at me? Like, yo, I stand by my brother. This is not about putting it off on Damon. Damon writes what he writes. I write some stuff that Damon catch heat off. Damon's caught heat off a lot of stuff I wrote. But anyway, you know what I mean? Yeah. We stand by each other. But so it's not about that. But I'm like, yo, why you won't address the situation? And then I wrote an article that we're going to deal with in the conversation today too, about the vice chair of the Westchester County Democratic Committee. This is the leadership of the county Democratic Party, who was putting a lot of comments on Facebook about Jamal being an angry black man, you know, mocking him for what he said. And he ain't just an angry black man, he a lying-ass angry black man, all this. You can read all the comments. I got all the screenshots and stuff. Yo, he need to have a stroke or something. Like, and I'm sitting here like, we're going to talk about that later, but the thing that I want George to talk about, you saw a story that Damon wrote that was posted on our page, but you have yet to speak about comments that were made on your page to your post about the debate. There's no way you didn't see these comments. They were on your page. So do you agree with this behavior? Because you're putting out a narrative that everybody's trying to slander you, that Jamal and his supporters are all coming after you, lying about you and saying things that are not true, and you're putting racist tropes out and all this other stuff, all these other words that you and your supporters are saying. But you don't have a problem with one of your supporters, who is also in the leadership of the Democratic Party, making these kind of comments on your page to one of your posts. So there's no way you didn't see it. And I'm going to be honest. There's a saying that Martin Luther King said something about your silence is complicit. Like, your silence, you not speaking about it, leads the narrative that you agree and condone it. If you don't condemn it, it seems like you condone it. We're going to talk about that later, but there's a video you got. We're going to start there. We're going to start there and then move up.
Options later. We have it all. Hi there. Are you guys Trump supporters?
I'll be right back.
No? Because the donors inside are also funding Trump's campaign, as well as Latimer. Are you aware of that? Oh, sounds great. Okay.
Nice. Are you guys Trump supporters?
No, I'm not a Trump supporter.
No? Do you know that this campaign is being funded by MAGA donors to undermine democracy?
I've been a member of AIPAC, a supporter of AIPAC. Just listen, for over 20 years, okay? I have never once voted for a Republican in my life. Okay, I've contributed to Cory Booker, I've contributed to Democratic candidates throughout the political spectrum, and I've never voted for a Democrat. So for you to suggest that AIPAC is some MAGA group, you're simply wrong. It's not true.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think the Democratic Party is doing an effective job of protecting Jewish safety in this moment?
No, I don't.
Do you want to consider that an alternative to the AIPAC center right might be better for Jewish safety? I am a Jew, and I'm deeply concerned about anti-Semitism that has been rising since 2016. And I believe that we truly need progressive candidates like Jamal Bowman to stand up for collective justice.
Well, I disagree. I need a man that doesn't only care about his people. I need a man that cares about everybody.
Who are his people?
Not only black justice.
Can I ask you, who are his people?
Black justice. He said it the other night on his debate.
Do you think that standing up for black lives does not mean that white lives are protected?
No, those are all important issues, but I just think you're misinformed, because you have this concept that AIPAC is, and Bowman said it repeatedly at the debate, that AIPAC is a MAGA group. It is not. I am an AIPAC supporter. I've never voted for a Republican in my life.
Do you think that supporting black lives is a problem?
No, absolutely not.
Your wife
is that your wife? She
so.
seems to think
my
so.
wife doesn't think that. I think my wife was offended.
I think she can speak for herself.
Yeah, well, She's obviously gone inside. Anyway, enjoy your evening.
So again, this is outside of a fundraiser for George Latimer held by a Republican. I have the flyer somewhere. And these are some Jewish people who support Jamal, who stood outside and questioned, asked questions of a couple of people who went there, and that's just one of the videos that surfaced. What is telling is the lady who says, "Oh, I need somebody who's not going to just care about Black issues. I need somebody to care about Jewish issues. Not him. Not him.
Or his people.
Right.
Or his people. Let me hold on a second, bro.
The reason that this is telling for me, this is the first time in the history of the congressional 16th district, New York State congressional district, that there was a Black person in that position. And traditionally and historically, Black issues have been ignored by politicians on the local, county, state, and national level. And he's speaking on some issues that have not been spoke about before. It's not that he's not speaking about everything, because he is, but he's speaking up. The problem is he's speaking up for Black issues that have not been spoke about, and he's fighting for those issues. He's talking about things like reparations and, that's that. Oh, not reparations. He's talking about a lot of things. He's talking about the miseducation in our school districts and how our schools are in the hood. Talking about affordable housing. A lot of us don't know the meaning of affordable housing because a lot of us cannot afford the affordable housing that they put in our community. So what is the affordable housing? And what he said, and what he said was that, "Oh, I'm the angry Black man." That's the Southern tactic in the North. Like there was a whole saying, and I had to have a conversation with a Jewish lady who we were going back and forth, and I was like, "Yo, Damon and I have been considered the angry Black men who dare to speak up on issues that they don't want us to speak about, who dare to call out white elected officials from a local level all the way up to a national level, no matter what the position is, who don't have our best interests at heart, and for not doing things to help the quality of life in our community, from criminal justice on down." We have been considered the angry Black. I've been called that several times. I get offended by that term. Why, when a Black man is passionate and speaks loudly, and why loudly? Because y'all haven't heard. We've been speaking about these issues for years and for decades, and y'all have never heard us or choose not to hear us. So he speaks loudly, so you can't, and uses his position, which brings media to discuss these issues that normally would not be discussed. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And he has the audacity to question America's relation with Israel and what's going on in Gaza. And our money is funding the atrocities that are going on in Gaza. He had the audacity. AIPAC's problem with him is that he didn't fall in line and back Israel 100%. And he called for a ceasefire when nobody else was. That's what AIPAC's problem is with him. So now he's anti-Semitic because he's like, everybody's a little too sensitive these days. Everything is not anti-Semitic. Some things are true. Just like everything is not racism. Some things are true. Everybody's a little too sensitive. If you say anything about Jewish people or a Jewish person, whether it is true or not, you are anti-Semitic because you didn't fall in line and just run with him. Go ahead, Damon. I'm going to pass it off.
So, all right. So I've been telling everybody from the beginning, because I've been writing all the articles about AIPAC and what have AIPAC has done. And you know what? It's really sad because some people that I shared the stories with, and they shared it to Black people in political positions in Westchester, kept saying it was a lie. And I'm not the only one writing about it. Other more credible news outlets have written about the same thing. They even talk about it on MSNBC. How more liberal and to the left can you get when MSNBC is saying the same thing about these political PACs that are so pro-Israel that they say community before party? And Black people, you're not part of that community. I don't know. I don't understand how in Westchester we are so slave-minded that the white man's ice is still colder and his bologna is still fresher. That we can't even see when other outlets. And you know what's crazy? I had a white person. When I told a white person that no, not all Black people are supporting Jamal. And they're like, why not? Why wouldn't you support one of your own when white people do it regardless? That's the rule. That's an unspoken rule. Chinese people do it. All ethnic groups do it. We don't do it. And this is the first Black congressman. And what do you, and I'm talking to you preachers, I'm talking to you political leaders. What do you tell your children? Uh-oh, what happened? I froze.
You back?
I don't know.
I still hear you, but your video's not up. Yo, I wanted to say something. I forgot now, but I ain't want to interrupt you, though, because you was on a roll. Yo, so if you just tuning in, you are tuned in to Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. This is episode 395, 5 episodes away from our 400th episode, giving you real talk for the community for 10 years since 2014. We're coming on our 10-year anniversary this year in a couple of months. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about those. We're going to have those uncomfortable conversations. That's the problem right now. People are not comfortable having the uncomfortable conversations. From the whitewashing of our history to all these things, they're not comfortable having the uncomfortable conversations. Until you are comfortable having the uncomfortable conversations with other groups that don't look like you, we will never get anything solved. And that's the problem, because George Latimer, and let me be clear, AJ Woodson, Damon K. Jones individually, and Black Westchester as a unit have been very supportive of George Latimer. George Latimer now is on it like several other elected officials who feel like they can't be criticized. They had no problem with us criticizing everybody else. I mean, you know, I called Jamal to the carpet with the infrastructure vote and the fire alarm. I had him come on here and explain to the people why he did what he did and what's the purpose. I asked him the tough questions. He doesn't get a pass. You know what I'm saying? And you had no problem with that. But for some reason, George Latimer doesn't think when you go to criticize him, you're picking on him. You're attacking him. You're an elected official voted by the people. We, the people, are the ones that support you, campaign for you. Hell, we endorsed you, but for some reason, you don't think you should be criticized. And if you are, then we have to be political operatives for the other side. And you're the one that always talked about, you know, caring about all groups of people and representing all groups of people. But I'm wondering, and like Damon said, we said 2024 is the year of exposure. Unless you come and clarify some of the stuff, you're being exposed. I'm kind of surprised by a lot of what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, the conversations we've had in person. I'm very surprised. I'm be honest.
I'm not, dude. I'm not. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised at all. And I'm gonna finish my statement to the point that what do we, and I'm talking to Black pastors, I'm talking to Black people in any type of leadership in Westchester. I'm talking to these organizations that's out here that have the audacity to put Black in their name or claim they represent Black people. I'm talking to the Black politicians. What do you tell your children when they look back on history and they see what they were doing to these Palestinian people, and that you as a Black person voted the Black man out that was speaking up for justice for them, for a man that was backed by a political power that didn't care not only about the Palestinians, but didn't even care about your community? What do you tell them? How do you lie to your children? Every single one, every single Black person that's going to pull that lever for George Lattimore is going to be on the wrong side of history. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you're getting a job, or he promised you some grants, or AIPAC might cut you a check. But you're going to be on the wrong side of history when you pull that lever for George Lattimore. And then you're going to have to lie to your children why you didn't stand up for those Palestinians and genocide. Stand up for Palestinians and against genocide. You're going to have to lie to your grandchildren when they look back on in history. I mean, we should be ashamed of ourselves. You can't sit here, you can't sit here and tell me that our history in the Black struggle in America, civil rights movement, the Black Power movement, was also tied with the Palestinian struggle. You can't tell me about it because it's written in history. Then you're going to say, forget what you talked about, Martin Luther King Jr. We just continue to say that you had a dream while we don't want to look at reality. Forget what you say, Jesse Jackson. Forget what you stood up for, Muhammad Ali. We're going to say you the greatest, but we're not going to aspire to be just as great as you when you spoke out for justice for the Palestinian people. You want to claim the Black Panther Party. Well, forget you too, Black Panther Party. When you announce your support for the Palestinian struggle. Huh? Stokely Carmichael, forget you too. So, I mean, come on. And we're going to sit here and pull a lever? We become hypocrites. Then forget about our own struggle. Forget about our own struggle and our own oppression. Well, we still struggling and we still being oppressed. We just don't feel it because we're able to buy a house and we're able to buy some Gucci bags. But we still oppressed. And we oppressed in the mind, We don't even see our own as valuable. No matter what our differences, we deal with those differences behind closed doors like everybody else do. And it's sad that not one I don't see no pastors in Westchester speaking up for the Palestinian people, speaking up for the descendants of Jesus Christ. How about that? I don't see no black pastors. Where are y'all at? Especially the ones that want to dab into politics and get jobs from politicians. Where are y'all at? They had to pull out Pastor Gerald from Tuckahoe and actually call Jamal Bowman anti-Semitic because he agreed, like many other black people in Greenberg, agreed that the moral Minister Farrakhan should stay up. So he Negroing out to that much for his boss. Where are we going? Where are we going? That we're just that silent as black men. And no wonder why our children don't respect us. No wonder why they're watching TikTok more and learning more that we're just cowards as men because we don't want to stand up for what's right. We just want to worry about a little damn job. That once you give these fools all your years, you ain't got nothing but sickness. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. It's a shame that I see more white people out here trying to educate people on what these people are doing to our government. And we don't get nothing because, just like that lady said, it's about them, it's not about him, and it's not about us. And because we are speaking out, and people that speak out, they don't like that. Just like that punk ass White Plains Democratic board member that want to call me. What did he call me? Us, whatever it was. And we asked him to come on the show, and he wouldn't, and he ain't never returned a call. So you're a coward. See, we not built. I'm not built like all them old Negroes. I'm not built like that. I will call you out. And George, you got some nerve to say we're operatives. Well, I guess we was operatives for you and we was supporting you. I guess we was your operatives too, huh? When we were supporting you, when we put your face on the front of Black Westchester right before the elections and handing them out to black churches you ain't even visit, ain't even know about. I guess we were your operatives too. I guess we were your operatives when we was trying to get everything straight between you and the correction officers union. I guess we were your operatives. Trying to bring peace. I guess we were your operatives. See, the fact of the matter is you just use black people. And you've done it all along. 2024 is a year's exposure. Whether you win or lose, you have been exposed. And if you was really for black people, you'd be for reparations. You ain't even for that. You for the study reparations. You almost 70 years old. You should know what you should know the struggle of black people from slavery to 2024. We don't need to study it no more. It's part of American history. Wait, I'm not finished. But you support $3 billion going over to Israel. You support all type of bombs that go and kill innocent people. That's what you support. But when it comes to black people, you want to study to see if we actually get reparations. If people are watching and they don't see the hypocrisy in this, but he's going to support for $1 billion to go overseas. But when it comes to you, black person, who suffered for 400 years, he wants to study it another 10 years before he think about giving you money. This is the hypocrisy that we don't even see it. All right, I'm done. I'm trying to bring up something else. Go ahead. I'm trying to find something.
So I just wanted to, we want to bring the receipts, and we mentioned somebody. Damon's talking about White Plains Democratic Chair Tim James, who accused Damon of being misogynistic.
Yeah, misogynistic. I'm like, dude, you don't even know me. How the hell am I misogynistic? You don't even know me. I never met that man in my life.
So moving on to the next subject, there was another thing that blew up my phone all day. Judge Latimer went on a radio show called Cats.
Pull it up now. Go ahead.
And Cosby. I have the audio. I just don't have the video.
Then bring it up. Can you gonna bring it up on your end? Can you?
Just a question. Elliot Engel was representative from that, in essence, of that district, and yet Bowman beat him in a Democratic primary in 2020. How did he do that?
Well, I can give you some opinions that, first of all, 2020, as we all know, is a very strange year. You had COVID and a whole lot of restrictions that were in place. And everybody, one of the things you may recall that Governor Cuomo did was authorize an absentee ballot to be sent to every single voter. And when you do that, people who don't normally vote wind up voting in this primary. So you have the abnormally high vote total that probably skewed results. You also had, as you recall, the death of George Floyd on the night of Memorial Day evening. That came 1 month before the election. And that generated a tremendous surge in the black community's concerns, anger, whatever. And the incumbent...
Are you allowed to say black?
Kaplan. I'm sorry?
Are you allowed to say black?
I don't know. I grew up in a black neighborhood. So
okay. So that was a clip. The New York Working Family Party shared it on their Twitter page. I think they have a statement. I didn't pull up the statement. But basically, a couple of things are disturbing. So the year Jamal Bowman won, he made it seem like the only reason that he won is because Governor Cuomo sent absentee ballots
made a big move to
everyone. And a lot of black people who voted for Jamal Bowman, who are registered, normally wouldn't have voted, and they voted since it was easier for them to vote from home, and it skewed the results. If these are registered Democratic voters, regardless of how they voted, how is that skewing the results? Then he said, which was even more insulting, and this is a Republican show. He said, well, then you got to remember, George Floyd happened, and black people got outraged and stuff. Like the only reason George Bowman is in office is because George Floyd died and black people was mad, so they voted for the black man. That's not just insulting to the black congressman, but that should be insulting to every black voter in the 16th congressional district. That your votes don't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. And the only reason you voted for this black man was because George Floyd got killed. So you was upset, so you just went and voted for this black man. And the rest of y'all that don't vote, y'all don't vote. But since Cuomo sent absentee ballots to your house, y'all voted and this secured the election. Kind of sounds a little bit like Trump talking about the absentee ballots. If it wasn't for the absentee ballots, he would have won. The absentee ballots, black people voting on them absentee ballots, he would have won. That's what I'm hearing out of George. Like, and this just happened. Like, George, you keep doubling down on these things and then coming back, and you get mad when we bring them up, but you keep doing these things back to back to back.
Well, George has never been a good George is who he is. My question is not about George, because George is going to continue to make these gaffes to show that he is 35 years.
I'll be right back. Keep holding it down. Hold it down. I'll be right back.
George is going to continue to make these statements to show that he's 35 years away from what the black people he has been around. Let's make that let's make that clear. So my problem is not George, because George is just exposing himself. My problem is the black people who are not who just don't take offense to the stuff that he's saying. And if we understand what they have done to Jamal's district to try to lessen the black turnout, to take parts of the Bronx away from him, to put more white areas in his district, because they don't want a black congressman that speaks on reparations, that speaks on for the poor and the homeless. See, that's good talk with a lot of these Democrats. But that's not their agenda. That's good talk for them to get your votes, but that's not part of the agenda. So, we have to change our mindset. And the question is, when are we going to do it? When are we going to do it? What do we tell, and I'm going to keep saying it, what do we tell black children? That they can't aspire to be a congressman? Huh? But unless you're picked by the system? Unless you're picked by the system and you don't talk about black issues in Westchester County? You don't talk about the poor and the homeless, right? And single mothers. You don't put that in the front. You don't talk about equal fair treatment. How do we work that out? And I'm asking the people, because see, y'all have to go out here and vote. And then you got to vote with your conscience, and also understand that you're also making history the day you put that vote in. You're also telling your grandchildren where you stood when you put that vote in. See, because America is already on the wrong side of history. America's already on the wrong side of history. And God is so great, it's just working all the way through election day. And America's already on the wrong side of history. Our humanity is being challenged by the Most High. And we're failing. We're failing. And pastors are failing. How do you stay quiet and the birthplace of Jesus is being bombed? How do you stay silent? you not saying anything? I'm talking about those that get into politics. There's some pastors that don't get into politics. I'm talking about y'all who get into politics. I'm talking about y'all who get jobs. I'm talking about y'all who have press conferences. I'm talking about y'all, and y'all know who I'm talking about. You do. You know what? If I'm talking about you, yes, I'm talking about you.
Just say if you got to ask.
Exactly. Why are you so silent in the name of Jesus Christ? See, we know the scriptures are telling truth when he comes back and he says, I don't know you. Because when my homeland was being bombed, you said nothing. You was worried about your job from Caesar. That's what you was worried about. You said, Brother Damon, you had a job, man. Yeah, but I ain't never shut my mouth.
That's why they said you the angry black man.
Exactly.
You know, there's a history of. I just want to address that for my non-black viewers. There's been a history of people that have been referred to as the angry black man. These are people that history now remembers for fighting for black rights and civil rights and voting rights and freedom and equality. Nat Turner was the angry black man. Martin Luther King was the angry black man. Malcolm X was the angry black man. Jesse Jackson was the angry black man. Al Sharpton was the angry black man. And I could go on and on and on and on and on. You know, all of them, what they all have in common, they fought for the rights of black people, for black and brown people, for poor people. They held the establishment. They spoke up against the establishment for the people. Because of that, they were called the angry black man. That's a way of writing us off. It's a racial trope, as Jewish people like to say about everything that's said about them.
Yep.
And so, like, what do all these people have in common? They had the audacity to believe the words by our founding fathers apply to us. They had the audacity to want to fight. I forgot what comedian said it. He said in the 60s, they wasn't even fighting to be equal. They were just fighting for you to treat us civilly. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? We were just fighting for civil rights. We wasn't even fighting for equal rights. We still wasn't equal. We were just fighting to get treated civilly. Like, you know what I'm saying? And y'all had a problem with that. And, it's not just a black thing, because women, all women, including that white woman that was saying what she was saying, the women in her family weren't allowed to vote. They weren't allowed to own stuff too. It was just the country was run by white men. So you and in this time where they're trying to take away all our rights, if you look at everything in the last 6 years, when they were coming after the voters' rights, and me and Bob went down there for the March on Washington, and I came back, I was telling everybody, but a lot of people thought that was just a black issue. So they didn't fight for it until they decided to go after women. And their 50-year challenge to Roe v. Wade, and they were able to overturn that. Then they start going after the LGBTQ, and they start going for, when they say they want to make America great, the time they're talking about when it was run by white men. Nobody else had rights. Nobody else owned anything. Hell, black people wasn't even considered a human. It was 3/5 of a human. This is the time they talk about when they say they want to make America great. And they are doing everything. They are whitewashing history as we speak. You cannot teach about these things in school. In a lot of schools. Books are on ban lists, and people are attacking libraries who don't even have these books. They didn't even have some of the libraries they went after didn't even have the books that they were going after. But they were one town. I saw the vote. The city council voted to defund the library. Then the library was going to close, and they couldn't understand why the library was going to close. The library didn't have any of the books that were on the ban list in that city. So we have to realize, they're coming after all of our rights. All of our rights. They fear the browning of America. And Jamal represents that. Now, don't get me wrong, the brother's not perfect. He flawed like everybody else. He elected official. He flawed like everybody else. But he does represent some of the things that have not been represented before in my community. In the Congressional District 16, in cities like the Bronx, North Bronx, cities like Mount Vernon, cities like Yonkers, cities like New Rochelle. One of the things that I found funny in the debate, young white kid asked about safety, public safety, and he was talking about not feeling safe taking the subway into the city. George Latimer started off saying, well, Jamal gave a great answer, and George Latimer said one of the things he didn't speak about is police adding more to the police budget, increasing police. Bowman responded, you admitted that you didn't feel safe in the 70s, and you feel just, and 4 or 5 decades later, this kid feels the same way. And every decade, they've been throwing more and more and more and more money at the police. So adding more police is not the problem. I want to see a debate of the issues, but there's a lot of propaganda going on. There's a lot of, they flooding the commercials. They flooding with commercials that are not totally true. Hell, I just got a thing in the mail. Where's that at? Say, yo, Damon, they going all out. Yo, I hope you can see me. So this just came in my mail the other day. In extreme emergencies, pull the tab. And you pull the tab, and it says, sound the alarm on Jamal Bowman. Yo, they going all out.
Yo, someone sent that to me. I was like, what is that?
This is by New York 16 mainstream voters.
It's just more
out of White Plains.
It's more
and in the back. And in the back it says September 23, Jamal pulled the fire alarm and delayed a vote. That is not true. See? Okay, let me read the rest of it. And the House to fund the government. Bowman later was charged with a crime and pled guilty. So I'm not going to give you Jamal Bowman's excuse why he said he did it. But here is what they're leaving out. Jamal was in his office in a separate building. Jamal wasn't in where they meet and vote at. He wasn't in that building. So he admits he pulled the alarm and he had to pay the price for that. When he pulled the alarm, that building got evacuated, not the congressmen that were in the voting. So nothing he did there delayed the vote. They're trying to say he pulled the alarm to make, so the building had to be evacuated and, it delayed the vote. That is not exactly what happened.
Right.
He admits he pulled the alarm. I'm not even defending that. I had him on the show. I asked him the hard questions. I was like, yo, brother, what the hell? Yo, but when you going to tell a story, like Latimer is talking about Jamal's people not telling the full story, Jamal's people adding all kinds of other stuff to attack him, and Latimer's people, the people that support him, are doing the same thing. And he's not speaking out against that. That one thing was not true. But that is the narrative. He pulled the alarm to delay a vote that was for funding the government. And that is not what happened. And the Senate, the chamber did not get evacuated. He was in his office, which is in a separate building. So, I mean, if you're going to throw the facts, at least, like, I mean, yo, hit him for pulling the alarm. He pulled it, but at least come with the facts.
Right. Right. I want to play something. I tried to share the thing, but it's just
Shout out to Shanice Coleman. I see she's watching.
But I want y'all to listen. Since this is Malcolm X's birthday.
Yes, happy birthday,
Malcolm.
Today, the 19th. Yes.
I want to play what he spoke about the Israel-Palestinian conflict. I think,
that would be appropriate.
We can't sit here and be claiming people and then just to be claiming people and then don't follow what they taught, right? So let me play this right now, man.
Palestinian struggle is not just a cry for justice. It's a blistering battle for the most fundamental human rights that every living soul on this planet should inherit by birthright. It's an unyielding resistance against the oppressive, suffocating grip of occupation and the callous denial of the most basic human dignity. Just as the civil rights movement in the United States fought against the chains of racial discrimination, so too do the Palestinian people strive to shatter the chains of occupation and tyranny. Never forget, my friends, that the Palestinians, much like African Americans in the United States, have been subjected to a heart-wrenching history of suffering and torment. The birth of Israel in 1948 brought forth the mass expulsion and dispossession of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their ancestral homes and land. This is a historic injustice that continues to haunt the lives of Palestinians to this very day. The situation in Palestine serves as a brutal reminder of the consequences of colonialism and the ruthless dispossession of indigenous people. It is an agonizing reminder that the fight for justice knows no borders, and we must stand united in solidarity with all oppressed people, whether they reside in the United States, South Africa, or anywhere around the world. Let's be unequivocally clear.
Look.
And you'll quote Martin Luther King. One of his famous statements is, "Injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere."
So any of you black Negroes who celebrate Malcolm X's birthday today and you're not outraged of what's happening in Palestine, then you shouldn't even be celebrating his birthday today. You just acting for show. That's all you're doing. And we just gotta call it out for what it is, man. I mean, when is the black community gonna have a conscience? Right? When are they gonna have a conscience? When are they gonna stop? Well, I just want to be on the winning team. Have a conscience, and you'll be on the winning team if you had a conscience. You don't even have a conscience. Just have a conscience. Your job will be there. Your position will still be there. If you have a conscience. See, right now, we don't have consciences in the black community in Westchester. Not at all. Not at all.
So Malcolm was born in 1925. That would make him 99. Next year would have been his 100th birthday. He would be 99 today if he was alive. Today is his 99th birthday. And again, Malcolm X was called the angry black man because he was
and he was called anti-Semitic.
Called anti-Semitic, and he also was labeled a terrorist by J. Edgar Hoover's FBI, as was Martin Luther King, who we celebrate.
And Martin Luther King was called an anti-Semitic.
Right.
Let's not forget. And Bishop Tutu was called anti-Semitic. Huh? Bishop Tutu? See, they call any black person or any person, they weaponize that word that people are now scared to even say that Palestinians should have human rights. And then they call you anti-Semitic. And I say it, I'm going to say it on every show. You call me anti-Semitic, I'm calling you anti-black. because those are black people. And then you got to watch CNN and Al Jazeera when they out on the street. You see people just as dark as me and AJ over there in Palestine. Look like they could come from Mount Vernon, and they over there in Palestine. Those are black people. Those are our people. So what we're seeing is anti-blackness. And then they want to label it Gaza camps and pro-Palestinians. No, it's pro-life. It's pro-humanity. Why do we allow them to make a mockery of humanity? Goddamn politicians, y'all making a mockery of humanity. AIPAC and all your other groups, you're making a mockery of humanity. And I'm talking all around. And you're also doing a disservice to people who actually live in Israel, because you're not bringing peace. See, and then they want to talk about this that started October 7th. Malcom was speaking that 30 years ago.
50 years ago.
50 years ago. Are you kidding me? And we're still dealing with the same situation? I'm going to pay, and it's sad. It's sad. And I'm telling young black kids, y'all got to get more on the ball and start speaking up, because I see more white kids speaking up for Bowman than black kids.
I just want to say this whole thing about this history. All the examples you named were people that the white establishment went after. And all of these people we celebrate for having the audacity to speak up boldly and to fight for what was right. And that's how history remembers them. How will history is watching now too. How will history remember all of you? What side of history will you come down on? How will you be remembered when the fight now, like they were fighting for the rights, we fighting to keep the rights because they're trying to take all the rights away. How will you be remembered? History is watching.
Mm-hmm.
Bull Connor and all of them, they didn't understand that. They thought they was right. But we celebrate those who stood up to them. And that's why they want to whitewash history, because they don't want you to know this. Because if you can identify, and it's taught that these people who were treated this way are now heroes and looked at as humanitarians and heroes and all these activists and all these other things, then you'll start looking differently about people like Jamal when he speaks up about certain issues now. The issues that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all of them and young John Lewis and Sniff, what was this? Snit and the Black Panthers and all of them, the things they were fighting for were unheard of at the time. Like, and they did not let these injustices lie. Some of them fought and lost their lives because they were willing to fight regardless. I think the problem is a lot of us, we all grew up, like I'm 58. Anybody my age or younger, you ain't never lived in a time where you couldn't vote. You ain't never lived in a time where you couldn't do all these things. You ain't never lived in a time where you ain't had these rights. You ain't had nothing to fight for. But I tell you what, though, time is coming now where they trying to take all that away. If y'all let them buy you off with jobs and funding and all that other stuff and throw money at your situation to keep you quiet, they're going to take all of this stuff away. And how will your kids and grandkids look back at you for losing it, for not fighting, for not standing up? That's all I got, man. I just, I can go on and on. I don't want to beat the dead horse. You know what I'm saying? We say this stuff all the time, and you can draw a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. But I definitely wanted to talk about these certain issues all the issues we talked about today are on the front page of blackwestchester.com. The article Damon was talking about where the White Plains chair, Tim James, called him misogynistic is I put the link in the comment section. The stories about the comments made by the Westchester Democratic Vice Chair about Bowman, about him being a lying, angry black man and he need to have a stroke and all that. That's on Black Westchester right now. Damon wrote a couple more articles. So everything we addressed today, you can catch on blackwestchester.com.
Yeah,
read it for yourself. We got videos, we got the proof, and as with all our 10 years, when we're giving you the news, the black point of view for everything we write, we have the receipts. So they're going to tell you it's fake news. They're going to tell you it's not true. They're going to tell you that we picking on them. We're political operatives for the other side or whatever. But anything we write, we have the receipts, and that's why a whole lot of people have been sued, and Black Westchester ain't been one of them.
And also on Black Westchester, excuse me, you check out the article. See, this is, and I'm going to tell people now, when you read the article about how Mayor Adams was pressured by business leaders into putting the police on the protesters at Columbia University. So Howard Schultz of Starbucks, you need to start boycotting Starbucks. Michael Dell of Dell, they were on they created a WhatsApp group, according to the Washington Post, to discuss ways to influence the mayor and the NYPD. It said it grew to near 100 members in there, in this WhatsApp group. And it said the group discussed various strategies, such as hiring private investigators to assist the NYPD and making large donations to the Eric Adams campaign, raising awareness about Hamas, and containing footage of the terror attack. So y'all got to understand, man, like this is crazy. So I advise everybody not to buy no damn Dell computers anymore, because they don't want you to exercise your right to free speech. And I'd be damned if I spend any more money with Starbucks. I think we need to boycott Starbucks. We need to begin to boycott Starbucks. And we need to have more conversations about that, because I hope some of these other 100 people that the Washington Post, this article is according to the Washington Post. It's not Black Westchester. We are reporting what the Washington Post report, since we try to get dismissed when we tell stories. Maybe they gonna call the Washington Post a liar. So I hope we get a bigger list of who are these people, who are these business people that influenced mayor or tried they did sick the police on them. So who influenced Mayor Adams to sick the police on these students and teachers, just trying to exercise their right of free speech and free assembly, and discussing and being vocal about what's going on in our world. I also want to play this video, because I think this is very important, and what this teacher who was arrested said. Oh man, got canceled. Here we go. I'm trying to, oh, I got 2 more videos to play, and then we're going to let everybody go. But I think this one's important as well, because we should listen to what this teacher said.
Faculty member, I'm a tenured professor. They're destroying the campus and undoing a democratic, peaceful protest. Shame on them. Shame on them.
What department are you in?
I'm in the Global Studies Department.
And why are you here today?
Because we cannot have a genocidal foreign policy in a democracy. These young people are going to be the ones that have to pay the price for these horrible decisions. These police officers out here today, that's thousands of student scholarships. Thousands of students could have been able to go to school and have books and have housing. But instead, our chancellor, who is a very cruel man, decided to send thousands of dollars worth of state funding paid for by the taxpayers into the trash.
Are you concerned about this jeopardizing your job?
For real. What job do I have if the students don't have a future?
It is interesting to hear their perspective.
She said, what job does she have if the students don't have a future? My question to everybody, what side are you going to be on when history tells this story? How is your humanity going to be checked? What lies or truths are you going to tell your grandchildren when they ask about this, when they read about this? And don't think they're not going to read about it. We're in a digital age. That's all I'm saying. What side are you going to be on? And are you going to lie to your children, or you going to tell the children the truth? Last video, this young kid right here, and I don't think he's in New York, but they're educating people all around the country about George Lattimore. How is that happening? And black folks in Westchester don't have no idea. How is that happening?
Pro-Palestinian politician from the U.S. government, and I'm going to tell you all about it. First, you need to know who these 2 people are. This is George Lattimore, and this is Jamal Bowman. They're 2 Democrats from New York running for the House of Representatives against each other. This would be Jamal Bowman's 2nd term as a representative of the United States. During his 1st term, he was funded by J Street, another pro-Israel lobbying organization. But since October 7th, Jamal Bowman has shown that he's pro-Palestinian, and he will say what needs to be said all the way back in November. This is a photo of him at a protest calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. He gets emotional. He labels the oppression as a genocide correctly. But because of this, the pro-Israel lobby has turned their attention to him to try to oust him and elect a pro-Israel representative in his place. Now here's where things get interesting. The first thing that happened was J Street announced that they were no longer endorsing Bowman. Then AIPAC was looking to recruit George Lattimore, and before he announced his campaign, he went on a 3-day mission to Israel where he met Isaac Herzog, the president of Israel, and as soon as he came back, George Lattimore announced he was running against Bowman. AIPAC immediately endorsed him and then gave him $600,000 initially, which made up 42% of the total funding for his campaign at that point in time. And then this week, AIPAC Super PAC, the United Democracy Project, which you can think of as an extension of AIPAC because that's what it is, spent $1.9 million in attack ads against Jamal Bowman. Now AIPAC makes up over 75% of George Lattimore's total current funding. Now George Lattimore is backed by 10 times the amount of money that Jamal Bowman is. This is what the pro-Israel lobby does to manipulate the US government and influence our elections. When they see a politician who's pro-Palestinian, who would advocate for Palestinian rights, who would call out and condemn the crimes that Israel has committed, they swoop in and spend an exorbitant amount of money to oust those politicians. Look around and ask yourself why so many US politicians are enabling and supporting Israel's crimes against the Palestinians, and this is the answer. This is the answer. The pro-Israel lobby funds a majority of them. They do what they did here. They swoop in and spend an insane amount of money. And it works. 98% of AIPAC-backed candidates have won their races. Their job is to guarantee that our tax dollars continue being shipped off to Israel to kill Palestinians. They want to guarantee that the United States will back Israel no matter what and allow Israel to do whatever they want without consequence. They do this to make sure that the Zionist influence maintains its grip over the U.S. government. This is why it's so critical to end U.S. support for Israel. No more bombs, no more billions of dollars, no more support for the genocide, for the oppression, no more covering it up in the news. They need to face their consequences. Netanyahu and his gang of Zionists, all of them must answer for what they have done. I hope you can see what I just laid out for all of you, and I want you to make a promise to yourself not to vote for any politician who's taken pro-Israel money, who's funded by AIPAC. You can find data on this through Open Secrets, media, and the FEC. If you need help, just reach out to me. I can send you.
That's powerful. And what's crazy is, using that quote again, if you and I said that exactly with the passion that white boy did, we would be labeled as angry black men.
Hey, listen, I don't care, man.
No. I'm just saying, it was well put together. He made his argument, and it's amazing that our community here in CD16 doesn't know a lot of this stuff.
No. And that's what we're saying.
And they're trying to shut down media. See, this is a slippery slope what's going on. Look at what Israel has already did. The major media outlet that was telling the truth about what was going on in Israel and Gaza, they have just banned from Israel.
Al Jazeera. Absolutely.
Yeah. So these are the people that are supporting the candidates here. They're trying to take away all the rights. They continue. You won't see Damon and me. You won't see Damon and me on no screen because we'll be banned. like, don't think that these things can't happen here. They're trying to turn this into like a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Or like a Russia, like a China, like a North Korea, or whatever. And those countries, people who talk like Damon and me, people who bring the news to you and bring you the real talk for the community, they get killed or jailed, or worse sometimes. Beaten, killed, and jailed. So it's like, we're fighting for all rights right now. Don't think just because the right that is being attacked right now doesn't directly concern you, that your rights are not going to be taken away too.
Exactly. We better recognize what's going on, man. And we better get in line. That's all I could tell black folks. They better get in line. They better get in line. You ain't got no political power. You ain't got you ain't got no political action committees. You ain't got anything. And sooner or later they're gonna flip on you. They're gonna flip on you. And it's crazy. Whether you agree with Jamal Bowman or not, whether you agree with everything. No, I don't agree with everything, but I know one thing: that brother stands up for my interests. So whose interests are you voting for if you vote for George? Maybe you voting for maybe you got a family member work for the county or something like that. Those things, I get it. But the overall interests of black people, you're throwing it out the window. Because they're just saying that these people are bought and paid just to send your tax dollars, across to another country. And then nobody wants to talk about reparations for black people.
For crimes that happen here.
Exactly.
For crimes that happen in this country.
Exactly. Like, that's crazy. And that's insane. But it's okay to send billions of dollars overseas, of bombs and everything else. But when you ask that same politician, what about reparations for black people? We got to study it. Are you kidding me? No, I wouldn't give a damn black or white, yellow, brown, green. I'm not voting for no politician gonna talk about we gotta study it.
Well, that's a stall tactic. It make you think, oh, they're looking into it.
I'm not studying the damn thing. HR 40. That you know how long that was written by John Conyers. That was damn near over 20 years ago, and it still hasn't passed. We're going to study reparations. I support HR 40. HR 40 was written by John Conyers. He's dead. No, they have to cut a check. That's what MLK, that's what Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about. He wasn't talking about I have a dream. He talking about they owed us money. That march was about economics. It wasn't about no black man dreaming.
Yo, you know, I like the when you say stuff, if I don't know, I look it up. The Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposals for African American Act is an act of Congress in the United States introduced in 1989 by Representative John Conyers.
Exactly. 89. They're still talking about a bill that was introduced in 1989.
An act, yeah. Yep.
And still hasn't passed. Still hasn't passed.
The current iteration of the act is sponsored by Sheila Jackson Lee.
Exactly. Come on now. And we don't know. And he was just doing that back in the days, but we already knew the information. John Conyers knew the information. You could go on YouTube, you could probably pull up John Conyers talking about his reparation bill. I went to a couple of the reparation forums with John Conyers in the 90s. So, I mean, come on, man. Like we still talking about stuff from 1989. And then they think we should just accept it. And the sad thing about it, some black folks didn't even know that there was a reparations bill written in 1989.
So if they study it from 1989 to 2024, you gonna pass it now to start studying it now?
That's my point. It's like it's so unbelievable how we get played as black people by this political system. It's unbelievable.
That was built to keep us down anyway. They're built on our backs to.
But these are people we vote for.
Oh, absolutely, and they reinforce it.
I mean, and we keep voting for them again and again, and they give us the most craziness. So, you know, I hope people that have watched this, that are watching this,
share
it, and we're gonna cut it up into clips. But share this, man. Like I don't.
For y'all watching on YouTube, make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on X, please follow. Instagram, shut off because it's only there for an hour. But hey, listen. Y'all got to wake up. Y'all got to wake up. All our money going to go overseas. And then you won't even have the right to even protest about it.
Well, that's another thing. Look at what's going on now and the way protesters are being treated.
Exactly.
The way protesters have been treated. At some point, again, like Russia and like all those other countries, protesters are killed or jailed.
Exactly.
For speaking up against the government. Exactly. Like you can still do that here and live, but there's several places in this world you can't do that. And you don't even understand that. And you don't even use the power that you have. And Trevor Noah did the what's that dinner they do, the correspondent dinner every year? Mm-hmm. And he ended it by saying, think about those reporters and those protesters in all those other cities that put their life on the line knowing that they could be jailed or killed. Think about what they would do if they had the power you had and they could freely do this. They're doing this at the cost of their life.
Right. Exactly.
Or their freedom. Imagine if they had the power all of you have that you don't use. Imagine what they would do with that.
Right. Well, hey, listen, man. I hope y'all have a great night. Check out the articles on Black Westchester. If you like the hat, go to DamonKJones.com. You get the hat. If you like the cup, you can go to DamonKJones.com, get the cup. But definitely, y'all gotta wake up. We got June 1st is me and AJ will be recognized for the first
annual Men Who Dare to Be Different.
First annual Men Who Dare to Be Different.
Shout out to Kobe and her organization. Yep. She had a table today at the Westchester Black Women Political Caucus. She had a big flyer of on the easel out there, and she had a table.
What was it?
It just ended.
What was it?
Remember the thing I hosted before? The Women Who Dare to Be Different. I mean, the Black Women's Political Caucus Circle, something that they do. And the
I saw the flyer. Yes.
Yeah. That was today. And shout out to Brenda Crump. Brenda Crump sent me a picture of her table, of Kobe's table, with the big flyer, the big oversized flyer on the easel, advertising it. So she's out there doing her thing, promoting it. And shout out to her, because she put on the Women Who Dare to Be Different for 10 years. In the beginning, with no funding and no sponsorship, no support. And she fought to keep this thing going. And now it's a big deal and everybody comes and supports. But she did it it was just a vision she had in her head, her and her in the circle. And then this year, she's doing the first one for men, the first annual one for men. And she chose Damon and I to be among the ones being honored. And I greatly appreciate that's June 1st. Make sure y'all come out. Flyer, we'll have the flyer all over. It's on Black Westchester in the right sidebar, and we'll have it on all our social media. Make sure you check out the articles like Damon said. Also, and I'm not gonna have a conversation about this, but we also had the 70th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education. I wrote a big piece on that, and you can read about that on Black Westchester for yourself. But there's a lot of things, and I will say that Mayo came out to the one that they had in Mount Vernon. Shout out to Judge Nichelle Johnson and Judge Tamika Covingdale. They also spoke. But Mayo was like, "Yo, that was the fight for to desegregate schools, and now some of the schools are more segregated than they ever were now." Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and he breaks that down. And it talks about all that, and I got the history of how all that is for those who are not familiar with it. So read that, know your history, while there's still a Black Westchester for you to read this stuff, because they're trying to. I know I say jokingly, they're really trying to take away, you know what I'm saying, us getting the information and our history. So, with that, I mean, this has been, unless Damon got anything else, this has been Black Westchester Presents.
I don't know what happened, man. I just disappeared.
Yeah. I thought you was going. I was like,
what the hell just happened?
Yeah, I thought you since I was talking, you gave me a full screen. I was like,
I just disappeared. I was like, what the hell just happened? Yeah, I'm trying to get this little portable set working right, man. Trying to get this up until my basement get fixed, bro.
Shout out to everybody who holds us down, continue supporting Black Westchester. You know what I'm saying? I'll say it again. Or like that song said, one day you look around and it might not be long. You look around and it'll be gone.
Get out of here. Peace, love, happiness.
What the hell happened to Black Westchester?
Exactly.
Why we haven't got no black media no more? Yeah,
Straight music. Like, we have to really pay attention to actually what's going on, man. We have to pay attention. But, I want to thank everybody that gives us support. We out. We out of here.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America. not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's over? Or we still on? We still live?
Oh.